Hi guys, so today I'm going to be going pink and grey. So I saw Alicia Keys' cover shot for Elle Brasil and absolutely loved it. She's gone orange and pink and I just think it looks brilliant. I'd never ever considered going a wacky colour like that before, so I've decided to give it a go because I really loved that look. I'm not going to copy it straight up with the pink and orange, I'm going to go grey and pink, and I'm just going to show you what Connect-a-Long hair I bought to hopefully get this to look good. 5 packs of this. This is going to be my base colour, which is colour 60, which is a very light grey. So I bought 5 packs. I don't know if I'll need all 5 packs, but we'll see. And then in terms of the pink, I bought 4 different colours, and I just bought 1 pack of each because I wanted to try different tones. Now, the shop that I go to didn't have any pink hair at all, so I had to look online and I found a really good shop called Cyberlock's shop. I'll paste a link below, and they have every colour of the entire rainbow. One thing I would say about buying online is you can't always tell exactly what the shade is going to be like in real life. So for example, there was a colour on there called Silver Pink, which I thought, well, that could be good. But when it's arrived, this is it. It's not really quite right. It's more purple to me. So I possibly won't use that, but yeah. So my other 3 colours are as follows. This one is called Vintage Pink. This is the darkest pink that I've bought. And the way that I'm going to do it hopefully is do the grey majority underneath and then start building up to pink, the brightest pink being at the front. So this is going to be somewhere around here, I'd imagine. Vintage Pink. And then I got Light Vintage Pink, which is the next shade up. That will be higher up here. I'll mix it in. I really like this colour. It's kind of a bit like my jumper. And then finally, the pièce de résistance. Candy Floss Pink. Oh look, you've got the logo of the shop there as well. Candy Floss Pink, the brightest, craziest pink. But it's still quite pale, I didn't want anything too vivid. So that's going to be right here, hopefully. And you know, I'll probably mix them together a bit, but I will proceed and show you how I braid it all in. Okay, so I'm about to start now. One of the things that I wanted to address, because I've not actually done a box braids tutorial at all before, and actually this is the style that I wear the most, just not normally pink and grey. So I do my own braids, I do all my own hair, to be honest. And people are like, how do you do it yourself? How do you do it? How do you do the back? How do you reach? Blah, blah, blah. How do you do the parting? As you've seen in this video so far, I have got quite a lot of hair to deal with. And the way that I see it is if you're doing your own hair, there's no way you can just tackle. You can't deal with all this hair at once. It would just be too much. You would just end up in a mess. So you've got to section your hair up and work with a little bit at a time. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've basically got about 6 hours to try and do the majority of this, and then I have to go out. So when I know that I have to be somewhere and I'm not 100% sure if my hair's going to be finished or not, what I do is I start around the circumference of my head and work my way inward, so that if I need to go out and it's not finished, it will just be this inside bit that's not done, which I can just put in a tiny little bun and then put all the braids over and put it up in a bun, and you would never know it wasn't finished. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with this back bit first and maybe do a couple of rows up, and then I'm going to switch and do the front row and a couple of rows back and keep doing that until I'm right at the middle. So starting with the back row, all I did was get my comb and score a line to make the parting. Now the parting is nowhere near perfect, but it depends if you care about that or not. I don't. By the time all the braids are done and they're all laying over each other, you won't really be seeing these lines, so they don't have to be perfectly neat. I know a lot of people do them, you know, if you go to the hairdressers, they'll do them perfect, and that's lovely, but it's hard to do that yourself at home, so I just do the best that I can. So this is my line. It will do, it's fine. And then when I need to get a new braid, I just grab a piece like that. I'm not bothered about drawing triangles or little round bits. Again, very, very pretty, but when you're doing it yourself, it's just much easier to do it like this. And it really, honestly, when you see the finished look, you'll see it doesn't really matter. It will be neat enough. In terms of what products I'm going to use, because as you can see, my hair is like straw. Today, I'm going to be using the old school Blue Magic, because when I was a kid my hair was like down to my waist and this is all that was used, so you know, why am I not still using it? So I've just taken the grey hair out of the packet and this is what it looks like. Now you see the ends are quite blunt, so I want them to be more tapered so that they kind of just go thinner at the end and just looks a little bit more kind of boho when it's like that, which I prefer. So in terms of amount, you know, it's a pinch really. Depends how thick you want your braids. I just kind of know from how I do my hair how much works for me. So it's trial and error. Try what you think is the right amount. If it seems too thick, take it out, try again. I use about this much. So I've got my piece of hair, and then what you want to do is just pull the ends so that they become uneven. And you can do that on both sides until you're happy that it's quite tapered enough. So that will do. See how it's a bit more like straggly at the end? And then in terms of how I plait, I've not put my grease on. So, got a little bit of grease. Got my section. So I literally just run it through the section, like so. And just get any knots out. Get the hair. I'm going to have it, you know, if you want it a longer length, you just adjust it accordingly. But I think this length is going to be okay for me because that's going to be about waist length. So I'm just going to hold it directly in the middle. And then let me just show you how I braid. So I know everyone has different techniques. Some people make this into 3 or make this into 2 and all sorts of things. My technique is quite simple. I just loop. So I have my hair in the middle. I loop this hair behind it. This should be quite easy to see because it's a different colour. And then I just start to braid it in. So my hair is the 3rd strand basically. So I start braiding like so. And then when I've done it a couple of times, I hold my own hair and I push the extension hair up to the root to make sure it's tight to the root. And then I continue braiding. And then I might do the same again. And then normally after a couple of times it's secure at the top like that. And so then what I want to do is, because the extension hair is a lot longer than my hair, eventually my hair's going to run out. So what I do is I want to mix some of the extension hair into my own hair so that it's even. So I'll just take a bit of this one, divide it into 2, divide my own hair into 2 at the same time, and then just continue braiding. So now all 3 strands are long, and that's it. And then it's just a case of trying to get your speed up so you can get through this quick. And you see that I'm running my hand all the way to the end at points. That's just to make sure that it's not tangling up, because that's annoying when that happens. Just keep braiding, braiding, braiding like this. And you want to keep going, keep going. Now I want mine braided to the ends, I think, for this, so I'm going to keep going. Because the end is so tapered, it's going to stay in nicely if I braid all the way to the end. So actually, you shouldn't need to dunk it in hot water or burn the ends or anything like that. It should just stay. But you know, dunking it in hot water is good as well. You can do that too if you want that extra security. Nearly there. And if you find like one piece is getting a bit short, you can just add a little bit from another piece. And there we have it. Numero 1. So I will continue to show my progress after I've maybe done a few rows. So, because these first rows are going to be all grey. Okay, so this is where I'm up to so far. Right. So I've done 3 rows of grey, and now I'm going to start including some pink. So this is the vintage pink. So I'm going to start incorporating some of this into the grey. So I'll take a little bit of vintage pink, a little bit of grey to make one braid to start with and see how that looks. And then as I get further up, I'm gonna start adding some of the light vintage pink and mix that in. Eventually ending at the front with the bright candy floss pink. So hopefully it should look okay. But there we have it so far. So I've parted a section of my hair out, a new section just across the back. This is probably the last one I'll do at the back before I start the front. Not the neatest parting, it's fine. Get some of my grease. And take a section here. I like the front to be a little thinner, slightly a little thinner, just looks better. My section, and it's greased nicely. So as I explained, I want to basically blend the hair gradually, starting from grey underneath, blending up the different pinks to the brightest pink at the front. And I think for that to look good, I need to kind of mix a little bit as well. So I'm going to take a pinch of my grey, and then I'm going to take a little pinch of the vintage pink, which is the darkest pink that I've got. And then same as before, I'm just going to taper the end by pulling. You can see there, nice and tapered. And then same again, just flat in the 2 mix now. Maybe come a little forward to see. So I put the extension hair behind, my hair creates the 3rd strand, and then I just push it up and start braiding. And then I always hold on to my own hair to then push it up if it's come down a bit. The grease can make it a little slippy. And I might do that one more time, like that, and then I start to mix the 3 strands together so that they're all equal in length. And then just crack on with the braiding. Okay, so there we have it, that's the finished first pink braid. It's a mixture of the pink and the grey together. Okay, so as you can see, I added some of the vintage pink at the back, mixed in with the grey, and then I started my first row at the front, which is these ones, which is the, not that one, which is the candy floss pink. So this is a really pink bit. So, as I said before, I'm gonna now jump to the front and start working my way back so that when I need to go out, I can just hide this bit here. Tie the whole lot up high. Hopefully by then there'll be enough done to disguise it. But, as you can see, we're well on our way. Okay, so last night I was doing my hair and it got dark, so I couldn't show you each stage because it just wouldn't have, the lighting was not right. So here's the finished hair. As you can see, I've already tied the top half up. I realise I don't really like it down that much. I didn't love it down on Alicia Keys either, to be fair, so definitely I think it suits the bun thing going on. So, but anyway, this will allow me to show you how I've laid it up. So at the back, as you'll remember, started off with just the grey underneath. Then I decided to mix in grey mixed, well, do grey mixed with pink, which, to be honest, I thought in the end I didn't really need to do that. It was fine just doing grey, then pink, then other pink. So I switched up then and reverted to just doing pink on its own, which I think most of it is in here. I decided to go for a bit more grey than pink because I felt like the pink was a bit, I and that's something that I can probably add more of if I think, yeah, I'm doing this pink thing. But for a first time, for someone that's never done bright colours before, I thought let's just keep it cool. Let's just do majority grey and then a little bit of pink, and it's probably enough. So I'll just take this down so you can see. So you'll see from my middle parting sections here, I did the lightest pink around my T, so the T shape, so across here and down the middle parting. And then I used the light vintage pink slightly further back. Basically, just mix up your colours, put your brightest colour at the front. That's basically what I did. So you can see there. And they're all, well, I was going to do waist length, turned out to be butt length. Well, there you go. Quite happy with it. But as I said, I won't be wearing it down too much. I much prefer it in the bun. So what I'll do is I'll recreate the Alicia Keys bun that she did and show you that. Okay, so as you can see, I've tied it up into a high ponytail. Just put it in like that. Obviously with braids, you can kind of manipulate them without the use of hair ties. But with so much hair to deal with, it is much easier if you do use one. And it helps you with the tucking in ends and things like that. So yeah, high ponytail. Now then what you want to do is put all these braids into one big braid. I think that's what she did, looking at the photograph. So I'm just going to bend my head forward and make this into one big braid. So I'll part it into 3, like so. Okay, that will do. And then you want to create the bun out of this. So it's really difficult to do without a mirror. Right, so I have a mirror down here now so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Let's get the picture of Alicia Keys up. There she is. So hers is kind of, yeah, you can even see her bobble just there, her hair tie. So hers is quite high and forward like this. And with hers, I noticed that on the actual bun, you couldn't see much of the, you know, her own hair, which is obviously dark brown showing. So it was a majority that you could see was this end part, which is quite tough to do, but do something like this. Yeah. Something like that. So there you have it. The Alicia Keys inspired colourful braids, and then in the bun like she had it.